I've always been the guy holding our online gaming community together. The one moderating the Discord server, organizing raid nights, and banning trolls who think spamming memes at 3 a.m. is hilarious. We called ourselves the Pixel Predators, a tight-knit bunch of 20-somethings scattered across the globe, bonded by late-night virtual battles and cringeworthy inside jokes. I'm Caleb, by the way, the unofficial dad of the group at 28, making sure everyone plays nice. Life was simple. Work my day job as a programmer, log in, and escape into our digital haven. Until I woke up inside it. Literally. My eyes snapped open to the familiar glow of our custom server lobby, the one I'd designed with neon-lit avatars floating in a starry void, chat logs scrolling like ticker tape across virtual walls. But something was off. Way off. My body felt real. Not the usual laggy controller vibes, but actual weight, breath, a heartbeat pounding in my chest. I reached out, and my hand didn't glitch through the air. It was solid, flesh and bone. Panic hit when I saw the others materializing around me. Mary from Texas with her signature purple hair, Mike the Brit who never shut up about tea, even grumpy old Lilith who only logged in to complain. All 20 of us, wide-eyed and freaking out. "What the hell is this?" I muttered, trying to pull up the admin console. Nothing happened. No menus, no escape key. That's when the voice boomed. Not from speakers, but from everywhere, as if wired into our brains, smooth, emotionless, utterly alien. "Welcome, Pixel Predators. You have been selected for Ascension. This is your arena, a perfect replica of your digital world. To level up and return to reality, you must play by our rules. Vote to sacrifice one member per cycle. Their end will be permanent. Their essence harvested for our entertainment. Fail to vote and simulation resets with amplified pain. Begin." Laughter bubbled up from a few of us at first. Nervous, disbelieving chuckles, as if this were some elaborate prank mod. But then, the first sacrifice demo unfolded in holographic horror. A faceless avatar twisting in agony, its screams carrying on endlessly. It wasn't funny anymore. Paranoia crept in fast. Anonymous accusations surfaced in private channels, old grudges resurfacing. "Dave's always been a slacker," someone messaged. "Why not him first?" Alliances I'd built over years cracked like cheap code. I uncovered the truth while probing the Sims' edges. These aliens weren't just watching. They were feeding on our fear, our betrayals, turning our friendships into fuel. The votes kicked off, and we eliminated the outliers, the quiet ones, the annoying ones, their digital deaths gruesomely vivid, bodies dissolving into pixelated gore that lingered in the air. I tried to keep things calm, rallying the group like old times. "We're better than this. Stick together." But hallucinations struck. Visions of mutilated friends pleading from the shadows. Voices murmuring secrets in my head. My best friend Jake, whom I'd gamed with since high school, pulled me aside. "Caleb, we can hack this. I found a back door in the code. Trust me." The final vote loomed, numbers down to 5. Paranoia peaked, everyone eyeing each other like predators. Jake clapped my shoulder, grinning. "You and me to the end, right?"
But as the ballots flashed up, my name lit the screen, voted by him. Betrayal stabbed deeper than any sim pain. The aliens' voices chuckled. Choose, moderator. Sacrifice yourself to save them, or hack the core and risk erasing us all. I stared at the glowing console, fingers trembling, heart racing. What if this hack was just another trap? The Sim's code flickered like a distressed heartbeat, its ethereal blue light casting long, wavering shadows across the virtual chamber. A sterile expanse mimicking an abandoned spaceship's cold steel, yet feeling like a living organism's interior. Walls pulsing faintly in sync with our collective fear. Each keystroke rippled the interface, distorting the air like heat haze over a funeral pyre. Jake's betrayal burned in my gut. Years of late-night raids and lesser games, and secrets shared over encrypted channels during all-nighters, crumbling to this desolate moment. We'd built empires in virtual worlds, laughed off defeats with cheap beer and bad jokes. But here, in this god-forsaken simulation, it all unraveled into something primal and vicious. Why, man? I asked, my voice barely cutting through the oppressive hum of the Sim's underbelly. But he just smirked, his avatar's eyes cold and distant, devoid of the warmth I'd once seen in them during our real-world hangouts. Those eyes gleamed with a malice that made my stomach churn. The others watched in tense silence, their faces a mix of guilt and relief, amplified to grotesque levels by the Sim's hellish realism. Mary's cheeks flushed with shame, her lips pressed into a thin line as if holding back a scream. Mike fidgeted with his virtual tea mug, the steam rising in lazy spirals that mocked the chaos. His nervous tick dialed up to 11. The mug's porcelain clinked unnaturally loud against his trembling fingers, resounding like bones rattling in a crypt. The air in the chamber hung thick with the metallic tang of recycled oxygen and something fouler, an undercurrent of decay, injected by the Sim's algorithms to heighten our dread. I could feel the weight of their stares, each a silent accusation or plea, depending on where loyalties lay. We'd started as a group of 20, friends and acquaintances pooled into this nightmare from our mundane lives. Gamers, coders, everyday people who'd signed up for what we thought was an experimental beta test. Revolutionary immersion, the VR promo had promised. Now, it was a slaughterhouse of the soul. I couldn't just give up. The thought clawed at me, a desperate animal scrabbling for escape. Self-sacrifice? That meant oblivion. My screams joining the eternal chorus of the fallen, carrying on through the void like a symphony of torment. I'd seen it happen too many times, the way the Sim devoured the Chosen, pixel by pixel, until nothing remained but a lingering wail that seeped into our dreams, if we could even call the fitful rests in this place sleep. But hacking the core was the gamble, the razor-thin line between salvation and annihilation. Jake had shown me the back door earlier, a glitch in the starry void where lines of alien script pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm, like veins throbbing beneath translucent skin. It was during the chaos of the third vote, when the group's fragile unity fractured like glass under pressure. By then, we'd lost 8, their absences haunting the chamber like ghosts in the machine. The first went easy. Dave, the slacker, more interested in memes than strategy, voted off with half-hearted apologies. His avatar convulsed in a storm of pixels, jerking as if electrocuted by invisible wires. I remembered his eyes bulging in disbelief, his mouth stretching into a silent scream that the sim made audible only to us survivors, a guttural, wet rasp resounding off the walls. He dissolved into red mist that hung in the air, reeking of copper and rotting fruit, a scent clinging to our virtual clothes and skin for hours. We told ourselves it was merciful, a quick end compared to the slow grind of suspicion eating us alive, but the screams lingered, looping in our minds like a corrupted audio file, replaying in distorted fragments during quiet moments. I'd catch myself humming the cadence of his final plea, a subconscious tick that made me question my sanity. After Dave, the paranoia escalated like a virus spreading through code. It started subtly, with anonymous messages flooding the chats. Caleb is hoarding admin privileges, using them to spy on us. Mary's been talking to the aliens, cutting deals behind our backs. The messages appeared as holographic pop-ups, flickering into existence with a sinister chime that set my teeth on edge. Alliances shattered overnight, friendships forged in the real world crumbling under fabricated doubts. I remember Lilith turning on Mike, her accusations flying like daggers in the communal space. She'd always been the fiery one, with a laugh that could light up a room. But here, her face twisted into something feral as she screamed, "You're rigging the votes, you bastard! I saw you tinkering with the console last night." Their argument exploded into a hallucinatory brawl, the sim amplifying the violence with visions of mutilated corpses clawing at the walls, grotesque figures with flayed skin and empty eye sockets, their mouths gaping in eternal howls. I saw my own friends' faces twisted in agony on those apparitions, pleading for mercy that never came, their voices a cacophony of overlapping begs. "Please, no, not like this." The horror struck deepest when I probed the sim's edges, driven by a mad curiosity. Late one night, the sim's artificial cycles blurring day into endless twilight, I slipped from the group, navigating labyrinthine corridors that shifted like a living maze. The walls grew smoother, almost organic, laced with faint bioluminescent veins tracing patterns like neural networks. In a hidden alcove, I uncovered the chilling truth. These beings weren't mere observers or passive architects of our torment. They fed on us, siphoning raw terror and venomous rivalries blooming from our broken bonds. Every betrayal was nectar to them, a surge of emotional energy powering this nightmare loop, a perpetual motion machine fueled by human despair. I'd accessed a forbidden data stream, a cascade of symbols translating into fragmented visions, shadowy forms hovering beyond the sim's barriers, their tendrils dipping into our collective psyche like straws into a milkshake of fear. They weren't humanoid, more like amorphous clouds of darkness with eyes that multiplied and blinked in unison, watching us with insatiable hunger. The feed revealed how our pain nourished them, each vote-off sending a pulse of vibrant energy outward to strengthen their ethereal forms. It explained the escalating horrors, the sim injecting personalized nightmares, like the time after the second vote when I woke to find my avatar's hands covered in blood that wouldn't wash off, its sticky warmth a constant reminder of complicity. Or how Mary confessed in a private chat that she'd seen visions of her family back home, twisted, screaming, blaming her for not escaping sooner. By the fifth cycle, we had become snarling beasts, circling each other in a pen of our own making. The chamber had transformed, its once sterile environment now marred with digital scars, scratches from phantom claws, stains resembling blood, but shimmering with code glitches. We'd lost more by then. Aria, the quiet artist who'd sketched our group's portraits in the early days, voted off after someone accused her of withholding intel. Her dissolution was slower, more deliberate, as if the sim savored her terror. She clawed at the air, her nails leaving trails of sparkling pixels before fading into that infernal mist. The smell lingered longer each time, a putrid reminder accumulating like invisible corpses. I tried to rally what remained of us, preaching unity in hushed tones around the central console, our unwilling altar. "We have to stick together," I'd say, my voice cracking with false conviction as doubt gnawed at me like a burrowing parasite. My mind raced through memories of better times, barbecues in Jake's backyard, plotting gaming conquests under the stars, late-night coding sessions with Mary, her sharp wit slicing through my frustrations. But those memories twisted here, poisoned by the sim's influence. Jake's back door felt too convenient now, a trap to push me over the edge. Amid the pandemonium, he'd pulled me into a private channel, his avatar leaning close, virtual breath hot against my ear. "It's our ticket out," he'd said, his words laced with desperation. The glitch was a tear in the sim's fabric, a starry void where alien script pulsed hypnotically, inviting manipulation. But as I stared at it, I couldn't shake the fear that it was bait, luring the hopeful into deeper damnation. The alien's voice rumbled again, a disembodied vibration shaking through the chamber like thunder in a bottle. "Decide, or the pain amplifies for all." It wasn't a voice so much as a sensation, crawling under my skin and intensifying the sweat beading on my simulated flesh, droplets forming and dripping with unnatural slowness, each a tiny agony. My heart thundered in my chest, the sim rendering every beat a deafening drum that synced with the flickering code on the console. The others shifted uneasily. I could hear Mike's mug clattering louder, Mary's breath hitching in suppressed sobs. If I hacked it, I could shatter the sim, freeing us all from this cycle of betrayal and horror. Or doom everyone to digital erasure, our essences scattered like deleted files from an uncaring void. The console hummed invitingly, the code unraveling at my touch, threads of light coiling around my fingers like serpents promising power. Hesitation gripped me, a vice around my soul. What if Jake was right? What if this was the only way? A desperate bid against entities that thrived on our division. The weight of 20 fractured lives pressed down. Friends turned foes, lovers turned accusers, all reduced to pawns in a game we never asked to play. I thought of the ones we'd lost. Dave's easy laugh silenced forever. Lilith's fierce spirit crushed into mist. Even Jake, whose betrayal felt like the final nail in our collective coffin. The first tendrils of amplified pain crept in, starting as pins and needles in my extremities, building to a fire licking at my nerves. It spread to the others. I saw Mary wince, Mike drop his mug with a shatter resounding like breaking glass in a cathedral of doom. My fingers hovered over the pulsing code, a siren's call to action or ruin. The chamber closed in, walls breathing heavier, the starry void beyond the glitch murmuring temptations and threats in equal measure. In that suspended moment, with the chorus of past screams swelling in my mind, I teetered on the brink, our fate hanging by a thread of flickering light. The pain intensified, a wave crashing over me, forcing my hand closer to the console. Memories flooded back in vivid, unwanted detail, each one a shard of glass embedding deeper into my psyche. I recalled the second vote, when paranoia had truly taken root. It was after Dave's elimination. The group had gathered in a circle, our avatars arranged like defendants in a kangaroo court. The sim projected holographic tallies above us, red numerals ticking upward with each anonymous ballot cast via a neural interface. "Tom's been acting suspicious," someone messaged anonymously. The sim's way of stoking flames without accountability. Tom, the engineer from our real-life group, the one who'd fixed my computer a dozen times with a grin and a "no worries, mate." His defense was frantic, words tumbling out as the votes piled up. "This is insane. We've known each other for years. Why would I sabotage us?" But the sim amplified his fear, distorting his voice into a quavering tone, making him sound guilty even as he pleaded innocence. When the tally hit majority, the execution began. Unlike Dave's quick dissolve, Tom's was drawn out, the sim experimenting with new horrors. His avatar glitched, limbs elongating like taffy pulled by invisible hands. Screams tore from his throat, modulated into a harmony of agony that resonated in our bones. Pixels flaked off like shedding skin, revealing raw, digital musculature that pulsed and writhed beneath. The red mist formed around him, but this time it coalesced into shapes, fleeting faces of the accused, mouthing silent accusations back at us. The coppery reek was overpowering, mixed with an acrid burn like ozone after a lightning strike. We averted our eyes, but the sim forced visions into our minds. Tom's real body, somewhere in the outside world, convulsing in its pod. Life support failing as the neural link severed violently. That night, sleep evaded me. The sim's cycles dimmed the lights to a moody indigo, but peace eluded me, only nightmares orchestrated by our unseen tormentors. I dreamed of home, my city apartment twisted, walls bleeding code, furniture morphing into restraints that pinned me down as shadowy figures loomed, their tendrils probing my thoughts. Waking, if you could call it that, left me drenched in sweat, rendered with chilling accuracy by the sim, cold and clammy against my skin. As cycles blurred, the accusations grew wilder. "Caleb is the imposter," the chats buzzed, pointing fingers at me simply for my quiet observations. I'd always been the thinker, analyzing patterns in games, but here it made me a target. Mary defended me once, her voice steady in a group holomeet. "He's trying to find a way out, not sabotage us." But even she faltered, her eyes darting away, doubt seeded by the sim's insidious suggestions. Mike, ever the peacemaker, suggested truces over virtual tea sessions, but those devolved into shouting matches, the mug in his hand a prop for his anxiety, clinking repeatedly against the table like a metronome counting down to doom. It was during one such meltdown that Jake approached me about the back door. The third vote had just claimed 2 more twins, Kara and Vivian. Inseparable in life, but torn apart by suspicion when one accused the other of collusion. Their dual screams harmonized into a piercing dirge as they dissolved together, mist intertwining like lovers' embraces turned lethal. In the aftermath, Jake pulled me aside, his avatar's hand on my shoulder feeling unnervingly real, the pressure conveying urgency. "Look," he said, guiding me to a concealed panel in the chamber's wall. With a few gestures, he revealed the glitch, a rift in the starry void, infinite blackness dotted with pulsating script that glowed in hues of violet and crimson. "I found this while scouting the edges. It's unstable, but if we hack it, we could overload the core, force a shutdown." His words ignited hope, a fragile flame in the darkness. We spent what felt like hours, though time dilated strangely here, probing the code. Jake, the hacker prodigy among us, decoded snippets, references to harvesting nodes and emotional resonance amplifiers. This confirmed my earlier discovery. The aliens were parasites, feeding on our discord. "Every betrayal pumps more power into their system," he explained, his voice low. "But if we reverse it, flood the core with a feedback loop." I nodded, excitement warring with suspicion. Why share this with me now? Was it genuine camaraderie, or a ploy to isolate me? The sim played tricks, after all, inserting false memories, like the time I recalled Jake murmuring to shadows, or Mary's face flickering with alien eyes. By the 5th cycle, unity was a joke. We'd dwindled to 12, the chamber emptier yet more claustrophobic, sounds amplifying every murmur. I stood before the remnants preaching. "We fight this together, or we die divided." But this time, my words rang hollow, gnawed by doubt. Jake smirked during that speech. Had it been there, or was it the sim twisting my perception? Now, at the console with the aliens' ultimatum ringing, pain creeping like ivy up my spine, I faced the choice. The code beckoned, unraveling invitingly. Hacking it meant risking everything. Success could eject us back to reality, bodies intact in those forgotten pods. Failure, eternal fragmentation, souls digitized and dispersed. The tendrils of pain sharpened, drawing gasps from the group. Mary clutched her arm. Mike doubled over. Jake's smirk twisted into a grimace. My fingers danced closer, the void script murmuring promises. What if this was freedom? Or the ultimate betrayal? I pressed on, the code yielding as the sim shuddered with my deeper delve, tension coiling like a spring ready to snap. The weight crushed me, but I pushed. For all of us. My fingers plunged into the code, unraveling the glitch with frantic precision, the starry void convulsing around me like a wounded beast. The chamber shuddered, its walls cracking with digital fractures that spiderwebbed outward, swallowing the horrified faces of Mary, Mike, and the others. Jake's smirk twisted into a scream as the simulation buckled, pixels exploding in a cacophony of light and sound, the eternal chorus of the sacrifice swelling to a deafening roar before falling abruptly silent. A surge of energy ripped through me, pulling me upward, outward, away from the nightmare. Blackness enveloped everything. Then light. I gasped awake in my apartment, the familiar hum of my computer fan whirring softly in the dim glow of my monitor. My real body, aching, covered in cold sweat, sprawled on the floor beside my VR headset, tangled cords snaking around my limbs. Heart pounding, I scrambled up, fingers fumbling for my phone. The date, the same as when we'd logged into that experimental beta. Relief crashed over me like a wave. I'd done it. Hacked the core, shattered the SIM. We were free. Messages flooded my Discord. Mary's, "Oh God, Caleb, you saved us." Mike's, "Tea never tasted so good in the real world." Even Jake's, "Sorry man, it was the only way to push you." Laughter bubbled up. Shaky, but genuine. The pixel predators were whole again, our bonds reforged in the fire of survival. I was the moderator once more, holding us together. But as I typed a group message, "Raid night tomorrow? Let's make it epic." A glitch flickered across my screen. Subtle at first, then insistent. The chat log scrolled unnaturally, old accusations resurfacing like ghosts. A voice, smooth and emotionless, resounded not from speakers, but inside my skull.
"Welcome back, Caleb. Level up achieved, but ascension requires deeper sacrifice."
My apartment walls pulsed faintly, just like the chambers, the air thickening with that metallic tang. Outside my window, the city's skyline shimmered, dissolving briefly into starry void before snapping back. Panic clawed up my throat. This wasn't escape. It was another layer, an infinite loop disguised as reality. Jake's apology message twisted into a smirk emoji, anonymous suggestions seeding doubt anew. He's the one who trapped us here. The alien's chuckle vibrated through me, harvesting fresh waves of betrayal. I'd always been the guy holding our community together, but now I saw the truth. We were never out. Trust was the illusion, sacrifice the eternal game. And as the first vote prompt materialized in my vision, superimposed over my real world, I realized the horror had only just begun.